Along Europe's eastern flank, the soldiers of the Ukrainian army are digging in. Over the horizon, Russia's military continues to mass. 100,000 soldiers, and a week of diplomacy has delivered nothing but stalemate. Now the Americans say they believe Russia is looking for a reason to invade, and if they can't find one, they'll create one.
Well, this is straight out of the Russian playbook, to try to, through sabotage operations, through false flag operations, through blaming the other guy, to create that pretext, to give an excuse to go in, or to make it look like the Ukrainians were the aggressors, when in fact the first aggression was perhaps even done by Russians against Russians, to blame the Ukrainians. So it's all very dangerous in the way they operate.
Under 3 presidencies, Victoria Nuland has had a focus on Ukraine and Russia. She is now Under Secretary of State.
Just put this moment in context for us. How serious is it? How worried are you, and how worried should we be?
Well, Mark, it's extremely worrying. You know, a nation does not deploy 100,000 troops on the border of another nation and put its saboteurs inside the country without some malign and aggressive intent.
Russia insists that all this is part of an exercise. It has dismissed the false flag accusations as nonsense. Its diplomats say the aggressor is NATO, an alliance advancing east that must be countered.
NATO has no gripes with Russia unless Russia is coming for us. We've lived side by side since the end of the Cold War, some 30 years.
Is America prepared to go to war with Russia if it invades Ukraine?
What we are talking about here is helping the Ukrainians to defend themselves and preparing massive consequences, economic and political, for Moscow if it walks away from the diplomatic table and chooses aggression instead. And we all have to do that. We can't allow countries to change international borders by force. We'll have a free-for-all out there in the world.
But President Putin already did that. He did that in Crimea.
He did.
And we know from history that sanctions don't tend to work. So, you know, if they do invade, what then? That question hasn't been answered. What will you, America, do if Russia goes ahead and invades, beyond sanctions?
What we're preparing this time is far more severe and painful for Russia economically, in terms of its potential complete economic isolation from the global financial system, as well as its political isolation.
The good news is that neither side has ditched the diplomacy just yet. Talks continue at many levels, and soldiers on both sides of the border await orders. Mark Stone, Sky News.